Good morning, everyone. This is Brad Matheny again. There's been a lot of talk about my SPY cycle patterns, these things, and what they are, and I'm not going to get into detail about how I'm building the inference engine. Remember, I've got 25, 30 plus years experience building code. I started out many years ago, back in the late 80s, building inference engines and database systems a long time ago. I built the product called the Candlestick Forecaster in the late 80s, early 90s when Steve Nisson's book first came out. And I spent years literally sucking up information from some of the greatest traders on the planet, trying to learn techniques and skills that would help me improve my own trading skills over the years. Now, what I learned about Japanese candlesticks at the time through the book called The Japanese Chart of Charts by Seiki Shimizu is that the Japanese believe that the number three represents a divine force. So you have to understand that the Japanese believe that the number three represents a divine, godly, living, positive force. That's why you see it in a lot of their candlestick patterns: the three rivers, three mornings, three mountains, three white soldiers. I mean, it's pretty common. And the number two represents death in Japanese culture. So, now this was from 400, 500 plus years ago. We're talking the 1500s, 1600s, back at the time when the world was a lot different. But you start to ask yourself. So I'm going to come over here and I guess I'll switch to a new page, create new layout. Let's call this 369 play. And the point behind this is just once this loads, the point behind this is this. Okay, I'm going to shrink this all down, drag it out of the way. So get rid of this, get rid of that. There we go. And so Japanese candlesticks, Tesla, Gann, and Fibonacci, and others. Okay, I'm just going to explain this to you. So the 369 theory. So I want you to understand that the Japanese candlesticks believe the number three is is critical. It has a divine force in it, right? So three equals divine force. Spell that right. Two equals death. Tesla 369 theory for universe. Gann square of 9 theory. And Fibonacci golden ratio, including the 369 theory. Okay, so the point behind what I'm trying to tell you is that I am somewhat obsessed with this theory. And this 369 theory, I believe, if you look at all of these, so I brought some things up here. We all know about the Fibonacci ratio. Many people don't know about Japanese candlesticks with the divine force versus two being death. But I wanted to highlight a few things, and that is that my SPY cycle patterns are based in theory on all of these. And then, of course, we have the last one, which is Rodin vortex math 369 complex math. So now I'm going to show you why I believe these are the keys to trading and what I am doing and why I'm focused on this. So, I'm not getting any younger. I'm sure you've heard me say that over the last year or so, I had some heart issues. I did. I had some medical work done. I'm allergic to certain antibiotics. Long and short of it, I ended up in the hospital with congestive heart failure because of the antibiotics. Doing a lot better now, thank you. But I'm older and I'm not going to be here forever. And one of the things I'd like to be able to do is unlock these secrets. So, again, without running into too much difficulty, what I want to try to do here is show you some things about the actual concepts that we talk about. So, Tesla's concept of the keys to the universe consisted of, and if you understand anything about Tesla, you must understand that he believed that there was energy in all things, and that energy could be focused and identified by simply tuning into the energy, which is why he tried to create a wireless energy source. So here, this is a good example. If you only knew the magnificence of 3, 6, and 9, then you would have the key to the universe. Okay, why did he believe this? Why did this structure right here become key to understanding the mathematics of the universe? And why is it such a great mystery that this 3, 6, 9 structure plays into the total capacity of human understanding? Now, you can understand that we have a lot of data here. I'm just looking for charts that show you, specifically. So this might be an interesting one. Map to multiplication and Tesla. So this looks like some kind of an early work by Tesla, or maybe later work. I don't know. It's made to look old school. But the whole concept here is, you look at this image, look at this shape, look at the angles that are presented here, right? So you have, 180 degrees, or call it 0 and 180, and then you have 90 and 270, totaling 360-degree circle. You also have a modified Tesla arc playing out here in here, or a Fibonacci arc in here. But then you have these angles roughly at about, I'm going to guess here, because this would be a 90. They'll break that between 0 and 90. So this would be roughly 30, 60, 90. Every roughly 30 degrees, you have these angles. Okay, kind of interesting, right? Well, now you come back and you take a look at the square of 9 theory, which is Gann's square of 9 theory. Oh, look, looks kind of interesting here, right? So we're going to come down here and I'm going to go back. This is a website called Trading Fives. I just thought this would be very interesting for you guys to see. Part of the square of 9 theory is, go back again, is the concept that we create this circle, this construct of vertical and horizontal price replication. And of course, here, if I go back further, this is a square of 9 right here. Again, representing the full concept of a 360-degree circle. Okay, very similar to what you have right over here with the Tesla arc. They'll use this one. Okay, very similar to this Tesla circle. And again, very similar to Rodin's circle. So you can understand here that we have, here's a better example, derivatives of math fingerprint of God. So here we have the concept here of doubling, halving, and powers of 10. Okay. So now it's all contained in this total spherical circular structure. And the vortex math, what really got me going with the vortex math was the entire concept here, linking Fibonacci sequence and the chromatic scale with Rodin math. What really got me going here was this structure that you build through a life cycle and a death cycle, like a sine wave, like you're seeing right here. A growth cycle and you call it a construction cycle and a deconstruction cycle, playing out over and over and over again in, call it different frequency or different amplitude, or you can call it different key elements. So, we could have, as Tesla suggests, we could have, a higher degree of energy, a higher amplitude of energy in a certain key frequency and resonance versus a lower amplitude of energy in a different frequency and structure. So now the whole idea is, how do we move? How do we move through these cycles efficiently? So now, if we come, let's see, if we come and take a look at this, this is a general structure of the vortex math structure. So you can understand that we start here and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So when we add these structures together and you understand that the core elements here are 3, 6, and 9, those are the life cycle elements. 2, 4, believe it or not, 6 is a key element because it's part of 2, and 8 are also part of, let's call them the death cycle or the deconstruction cycle. So, where does that leave hypothetically 7, 1, and 5? They're not included in any of the other growth or construction phases and or deconstruction phases. Well, that is the question that I'm working on right now. Are 1, 5, and 7 shifting? Do they represent transitional components? Do they represent a key shift, an amplitude shift, a frequency shift? What are they? So in theory, we would move from 3, 6, 9 repetitively through a growth phase. That's why we get, if you think about it, Elliott wave is also part of this. When you get a 3 cycle wave, a 6 cycle wave, a 9 cycle wave, you can get 12 cycle waves, 15 cycle waves. I mean, there's complex wave cycles. But as we cycle through this, moving through a growth cycle into a destruction cycle, 2, 4, maybe to 6. So understand that if you go, because look at the structure, you go from 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 to 7 to 5 to 1. So in this structure, what you do is you move typically through these cycles, shifting. And as you shift potentially from 1, 5, 7, you may move into this 3, 6, 9 cycle. As you move into this 3, 6, 9 cycle, it may repeat until it moves into a 5, 7, or 1, and then starts shifting into this deconstruction cycle. And that's what I believe is actually taking place. For a while, I thought, visually, what I would do here is just draw a vertical line, come straight down this cycle. And basically, one side would be constructive, the other side would be destructive. But now I'm working towards the theory that it's a coil. It's kind of like this, in the sense that it rolls out of a cycle and then back into a cycle. So, imagine, let me just copy this. And then I'll come over here, minimize all of these. These are buttons I was working on. Well, here, I'll just do a new and okay and paste. So now we're going to look at the structure here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw on this structure with the pen tool or the brush tool. Let's see here, pen, See how thick it is. Brush. 13. Yikes. Don't want it to be that big. Soft rounded. Color magenta. So hypothetically, if we come out of this 3 cycle here and we come all the way out and it gets to an 8, let's say a destruction cycle, maybe it moves back down into this 1 cycle, shifts back out to this 1 cycle, which is moves then us back down into this 9 cycle, or maybe down into this 7 cycle, and rolls back out. So I'm looking at how these cycle shifts take place. And I believe this is the key to understanding price movement. And I believe it's the key to understanding uh, actual structures in price. I haven't unlocked it yet, but this is what I'm working on. So now when we come back over here to my SPY cycle patterns, you know, what I'm doing, I tell you, is I'm using, where did my chart go? Here. I'm using these concepts. I'm really using Tesla, Gann, Fibonacci, and a little bit of rodent vortex math into these structures to try to identify price movement. Now, what we can do here, let me drag this down a little and move this back up. What we can do here, guys, is, I'm going to try to give you an example. So here we have movement. This is the SPY. This is a 1-hour chart. We will go from this mode to this mode. And this is kind of what I do in my studies. So the idea here is I'm trying to figure it out, just like everybody else. So we have this concept. It's both time and price range, right? So if we understand that the 369 cycle constructs a movement. So here we have a 369 cycle. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just basically drag this from this level, paste again to here. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to see if we get a proper 3, 6, or 9. Make sure that I've got them lined up fairly cleanly. Okay, so at this point, this expansion equals into an expansion here, and we get above it. Remember, price is soft. So even though we can project a 6 level or a 3 level up to this level off of this move, and another way to do this would be to just simply use a Fibonacci extension tool and come from here up to here, back down to here. And now we would be looking for 3 right in this area, right here. And that would be our 3 level. But what we're looking at here is when we get into this mode, do we cleanly get up to 3? Do we consolidate into 3? And then do we potentially get a movement similar to this in structure out into the future? So we come here and we can see from this pullback, we look for the lowest level of this pullback here. And now we're looking at potentially an upward move up into this area. So here we can come in and take a look at this and say, how far did we get into this? It looks like a 2. It looks like it moved up 2 completed legs, which is a 200% Fibonacci extension from these lows. And if I come to here and come to here, you can see at this point that from this level, we come to here, and then come up to this level, these lows, you can see that we've moved right to the 200% level, right to here. Now, I'm going to get rid of that and draw it again. Now, this is all conceptual, okay? But I want you to try to see how this constructs this, then constructs this, which ultimately then through a correction period here may then move up to this point. Because that equals a full 100% 3. So this is a 3. This is technically a 3 and a 9. Okay. And this is technically a 6 because it's 2 3s. And this is technically a 3 and a 9. And this is a, oops, keep active. And this is technically a, call it a root 3. So again, what I'm showing you is theory of what I'm looking at. Now, the entire concept of, the vortex math playing out through these structures and deconstructing versus the Fibonacci and Rodin math. Now, understand that Fibonacci, Rodin math, Tesla, and Gann were all into the same thing. Okay, these are some of the greatest minds the world has ever seen, and they all basically identified the same thing. They identified this structure, this Tesla 369 structure, and the keys to the universe. If you understand it, as he stated, you would understand the keys to the universe. This is kind of an interesting one here because you can see the structure in a different inverted kind of a manner. And again, this is another one that's rather interesting in the sense that you can see how these circle events play out through the structure. And you can see here how my phone's going nuts, so I'm gonna have to cut this short. How the data, the cycle of the data from 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, 1 continues to repeat, and the 3, 6, 9 are separate. Okay, so it again gives you a yin and a yang structure. And again, here's the same 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, 1 structure with 3, 6, 9 moving in an opposite component. So what I'm trying to show you here in my Fibonacci, in my SPY cycle patterns here, without showing you what is actually going on, I attempted to map these structures in my SPY cycle patterns. And in doing so, I've identified these. I mean, I can do them on 1 minute, 5 minute, 2 minute, whatever. I just stick to daily because it's easier and it's less confusing. And obviously, I don't want to have to keep pushing out data every 2 minutes or 5 minutes to you guys because that's really confusing and it's really difficult to understand. And the reality is, if I can help you understand the daily cycles, it's more important than trying to deal with the 1 minute, 2 minute cycles. Now, ultimately, if I figure it all out, then you never know. Maybe I'll come up with a book or a piece of software or something that's really interesting. But again, it's not random numbers. I've been working on trying to unlock these components for decades. It's not easy. It's not as simple as you think. Remember, big banks spend hundreds of millions of dollars trying to unlock the secrets of the world and the markets and price data. I believe I get closer and closer every day with my study, kind of like I've shown you here. Now, there is the construction phase of data, of price trends, which again, the cycle, the excess phase peak pattern. And then there's the deconstruction phase here. So you have this as a construction phase, building a trend, and then you have this potentially as a deconstruction phase, contracting trend. And what then would happen is we would move into a potentially new construction phase, a new trend construction, possibly moving into a brief pause, like I would call this. But the whole point behind this is this plays into Fibonacci price theory because as we're looking at Fibonacci price theory, and I've done many videos, you can go find them on TradingView. But again, if you look at this, We set a low, we set a unique and standout high, we break above that high right here, we get into an uptrend. We move above the ultimate low, which is right down here. This is what's called the ultimate low. So we're above this ultimate low. We do not get any new ultimate lows until this level here, where we shift to a new ultimate low here, because we have more than, and I'd have to check, but more than 45 bars back that we didn't have any low price touch this area. And we're continuing to set new higher highs. As we roll up, we set new higher highs and pull back, and then new highs, and then new highs, and then new highs, and then new highs, and then we get a pullback. So we are still in a general uptrend with Fibonacci price theory. This would align with the 369 structures. This would align with a growth phase taking place in the market. And again, you look at these structures time-wise. So here we go. Let's take a look at these structures time-wise. So we will come over here, draw a box. Okay, growth phase initiated from this low to this period. Okay, fine. There's our growth phase. Now we'll try to take this and we'll try to break this into potential thirds. So let's see if I can do it visually. Why am I breaking it into thirds? Got to be a little bit bigger, because I want to try to see if time cycle plays into the Fibonacci price theory. A little too big. I was probably close with the first one. Okay, so let's just try this, see if it works. And again, this was all play. So I want you guys to understand what I'm trying to do here is not close. But we need to be a little bit less, right about there. Okay, so you know what I'm doing, right? I'm trying to see if this is 1/3 or 2/3 of the actual cycle event. So there's our high, and we end up here from peak to trough at 1/3 the cycle. Can you see that? Now we come in here and we move from the bottom all the way up to the top. And remember, this is our top here, right there, that bar. And that's really two cycles, two 1/3 cycles. So this is, think of this as a 6, think of this as a 3, think of this as a 9. Okay. And now we come back over here, and in his pullback structure, we go from this level to right at that low, right there. That's another 3. Does that make sense? I mean, what I'm doing is I'm showing you that 369 theory, excluding price amplitude, excluding frequency, excluding mechanical resonance, which is a whole other theory, which is Tesla, plays out repetitively in cycle trends. And I believe that once and if I'm able to unlock the secrets and map what is coming in the future, we're going to see some incredible breakthroughs. But again, this is really, just trying to, twist your brain a little bit to share with you what I do and what I study and what I build in regards to trying to unlock these secrets and these tools. It's not easy. It's kind of like chasing a needle in a haystack that continually moves every 10 minutes. The idea here is, though, that once and if I'm able to create some sort of a breakthrough, I should be able to unlock, hopefully, the true secret of the markets and really try to identify, where we move from growth phase to contraction phase, and about how structurally sound that growth phase is going to be. I believe if you come over here to the Gann square and you take a look at this, where was it? trading fives right here. If you come into here and you take a look at the Gann square, and you can see here how he's doing it a little differently, but I believe this was simply a, a construct around fundamentals of real fun. Let's call it. This was a construct, a simplified construct of fundamentals that targeted very clear trade objectives on the square of the Gann wheel, the square of 9. And I believe this works. I know it works. I've seen it work. But I need you to understand also that I believe this was a mechanical process of targeting. Easiest way to put it would be targeting the most likely objective and outcome, not truly understanding the mechanics of it, but understanding that how to take any number, any price, and targeting the most likely potential upside or downside targeting range gives you a very clear objective for trading. But again, it's an A or a B scenario. It can go up or it can go down. So when we add this again with the vortex math, which again, this is a good example of the vortex taking place. This is what vortex math is like. And then, of course, we add that to the Tesla mechanical resonance and 369 theory, which let's just stick with this. And now what you're looking at is you're looking at, a fairly complex puzzle to try to understand. But if you want to have a little fun and watch some of these videos on YouTube, sorry, I shouldn't mention it. Watch these videos um, on Tesla and Rodin math and Gann square of 9, and of course understand how it ties into Fibonacci and it all ties into candlesticks. I believe they were all dancing around the precipice of a great knowledge, wealth of knowledge, but I don't believe they actually got to the core source, which is again what I'm struggling to try to understand. So I'm going to leave you here just kind of understanding this and what I'm doing, what I'm building with regards to my systems, and we'll go from there. Leave me a message if you want. We'll talk about it. Wow, 32 minutes. Okay, guys, back to work. Talk to you later.